Now let's look at Article 2. So what is the title of this article? And that's here right at the top, this entire thing here, SeaWorld, Gold Coast, Australia's Discourse of Legitimation, and so forth. The journal is here at the top, Journal of Sustainable Tourism. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see the authors listed here and their credentials underneath. This shows their university affiliations. And if we go on down actually to the end of the article to page 14, there's a section down here that's called Notes on Contributors, and this gives more of their background information. One interesting thing to note here is that each of them have worked for tourism organizations. So that's just something interesting to be aware of. So again, we want to know the credentials of the authors so that we know how reliable and trustworthy the information is, and so we can be aware of any potential bias. Okay, how did the authors research or gather information for this? Well, they conducted a study. They also read other articles about the topic. And the way we can tell that is if we look at the abstract here, which an abstract is basically a summary that's at the beginning of the article. It does tell the methods that were used. And then also if we go down to page 7, there's a section called Methodology. And if you look here, it tells exactly what they did for their study. Also at the end, of course, there are a list of references of the other articles that the authors read. How long do you think it took for them to research, write, and publish this article? Well, if we look here, we can see that this article was published in 2020, or I'm sorry, yes, 2020, that's right. And the studies were conducted in 2015 and 2018. So that's at least 5 years from start to finish, plus it probably took a little bit of time at the beginning to design and plan the study. So we're talking about at least 5 or 6 years, which is something to be aware of because, again, scholarly articles are not going to be as current as something like the news article that we just looked at. And lastly, who's the intended audience of this article? That would be someone who's looking for more in-depth scholarly information, some data collected from a study, maybe somebody that's just particularly interested in this topic, or possibly another researcher in the same field. So that's a look at Article 2, and so go ahead and we will do a comparison on the next slide.